All right, everyone. Just want to remind everybody that this presentation will be recorded. My name is Tony.harrison. I'm a member of the Alexandria-Fairfax, Virginia Alumni Chapter of Kappa Fraternity, the Eastern Province Guide Right Chair, and the Chairman of the Kappa STEM Committee. The STEM Committee is pleased to have you join us this evening for our third and final webinar in the Diamonds of Rough webinar series. I ask that you please hold all questions until the end so we give our presenters a chance to go through all their presentations. So we're here tonight to learn about President Obama's new bold initiative to empower generations of American students with computer science skills they need to thrive in the digital economy. Computer Science for All is the President's bold new initiative to empower all American students from kindergarten through high school to learn computer science. Our presenters from Code.org mission is to increase diversity in computer science by reaching students of all backgrounds, where they are at the skill level, in the clubs, homes, and schools. The White House Science and Technology Policy Office will discuss the importance of the new initiative to actually expand computer science in K-12 classrooms by governors, mayors, companies and foundations, nonprofits, tech entrepreneurs, education leaders to do more to make this critical subject available to students across the country. We're in for a great presentation this evening. I'm going to turn this over right now to Jayon Ridley, who will introduce himself and the presenters. Jayon, it's all yours.
Hello, I'm Jalen Ridley. I'm a rising fourth grader and a member of the Alexandria-Fairfax Nesby Junior Chapter. This evening I will introduce the webinar Computer Science for All, SCS for All presenters. CS for All webinar is about promoting President Obama's bold new initiative to empower a generation of American students with the computer science skills they need to thrive in a digital economy. Our presenters will provide insight how to get students with computer science resources and benefits of studying computer science. Dr. Carr, a science and technology policy expert, will discuss the importance of the new initiative, the action to expand computer science in K-12 by governors classrooms by governors, mayors, campaigns, foundations, non-profit education leaders. Major Pitts will describe the Army's need of workforce with computer science skills, how the nation's military prepared him for his career in cyber warfare. Amisha Roy from Code.org will speak about her mission to increase diversity in computer science by reaching students all over backgrounds with where they are at their skill level in their clubs, homes. Dr. Carr, White House Science and Technology Policy. The presentation is yours.
All right. Thank you for that great introduction, man. So first I want to welcome everyone to the call today. It's very important, I think, that we talk about something that we're calling a new basic. So we all know about the word literacy. So literacy is commonly known as what is needed for you to, well, for Americans and for people in general, to have the basic skills in order to succeed in the world. And up until today, up until recently, the definition of literacy covered being able to read and write. While that may have worked in 1960 and 1965 and 1865, um, students across America will need to know much more than how to read and write to succeed in America. And so what's very important for us is how can we redefine literacy? How can we define literacy as something much more broader and inclusive than reading and writing? And so oftentimes we hear a new word called digital literacy. So in addition to reading and writing, one of the new basics, right, this is what the president calls a new basic, um, is computer science and computational awareness. This new basic skill that's necessary for our students to reach all the economic opportunities that they need. By some estimates, just 1/4 of all K through 12 schools in the United States offer computer science. Um, on top of that, 28 states allow computer science courses to count towards high school graduation. So the C is for All initiative is this bold initiative by the president is really grounded in how can we help America? How can the president, how can the Department of Education, how can arts organizations help our students to be prepared for the next generation of jobs? And it's not all about jobs, but it's about preparing you to be a part of the American economy and the new normal. And so, fortunately, there's a growing movement being led by parents, by teachers, states, districts, and the private sector to help expand computer science education. Um, and so we're not doing it all by ourselves. And so what your parents and your teachers should know, and the students should know, is that there have been millions and millions and millions of dollars, over $500 million dedicated to supporting this cause. So let me go back for 1 second, though. Let's talk about why the president chose computer science, why the president chose computational understanding. What we all know is that over the next 20 years, the Bureau for Labor Statistics, which is the federal agency that really gives us the temperature of the country's job market, they're saying that in the next 20 years, 80% of every new job will require some sort of understanding in computation, right? Some sort of basic background in STEM. And what that means is that for the young people right now in school, if they don't have that basic understanding, that basic computational awareness, and things like computer science and engineering and design, 20 years from now, 15 years from now, 80% of every job will be out of their reach. And it's the president's mission to be sure that we create pathways to opportunities, pathways to the middle class for all people, especially those who are marginalized, especially those who don't usually receive the type of opportunities that others do to succeed. And to address this, what the president did is that he has taken on and challenged teachers, principals, superintendents all across the country to add computer science as a requirement, not only for graduation, but for things as simple as getting out of middle school, right? And so, if you look at states like New York, look at school district like New York City or Atlanta. These are the in Arkansas, sorry, the state of Arkansas. These are the places across the country that are leading the fight, that are leading the conversation around giving their students the opportunities that they need. Computer science is much more than coding. Computer science is much more than writing code and writing software. And the basic thing about computer science is that the basic building block is problem solving. It's thinking. It's being able to solve some of the world's most complex, almost simple problems. And we think, and the president thinks, that all young people should have the opportunity to learn this and to be involved in this.
Thank you, Dr. Carr.
Thank you, Dr. Carr. We'll now move it to Major Pitts.
Thank you for having me. I am Major Pitts. I've been in the Army for 14 years, and my current job is a defensive cyberspace planner. And computer science and cyber is the largest growing branch of the Army right now, as well as the Navy, the Marines, the FBI. it's grown so fast that we don't even have enough people to fill all the positions that we actually need. There are plenty of training choices that we use now to train soldiers and the Army, and to increase the number of computers that we use every day. Personally, the Army has paid for my college 3 times, a bachelor's and 2 masters that are in the engineering and computer science field, and I use it every day to hunt and find bad guys who try to use our networks against us or use their networks to do bad things to us. Most of the systems that we use in the Army every day to train and fight are integrated with computers. So this branch is really growing, and as the branch grows, we definitely need more people. So we definitely want to instill this into your young minds and possibly train you to be the future cyber soldiers of the future. Everything from some of our body armor, our tanks, our radios, you name it, are now computerized and have computers in them. So we need coders. We need designers. We need people who can make circuits to make these better, faster, smarter. So you need the smart guys just as much as you need the guys who drive the tanks and shoot the guns these days. You may see the news. There are plenty of bad guys out there who use computers to do some really bad things to us. Everything from stealing money to banks to shutting down dams and stuff like that. So part of my job is to train teams to go out to find the bad guys as well as to protect the Army networks to keep bad guys from getting in. In the Army, I started off doing things like from programming radios to I've set up computers and networks all over the world that we've used to do everything from send emails to hunt and find the bad guys. Even to do cool things like shoot missiles and tanks and stuff like that just from a computer and iPad. Now, like I said, I definitely train and deploy teams that protect the Army's networks all over the world. And I also travel all over the world to teach other countries how to do the same things, all with computer science. Just to tell a little bit about my youth, my interest in computers came at an early age, doing everything from taking toys apart to wondering how can I program them to do the things I want them to do to make them better. And then coming up, I've learned to build circuits, build various toys and robotics, and then to do some type of coding to build software to do various things. So I'll just kind of close on this. So my advice for anyone who is interested in getting into the cyber field is to first look at the world around you. TVs have gotten smaller and have more computers. Your cell phones have shrunk over time. I mean, even the app on your phone. In the Army, we use a lot of apps to do everything from training soldiers to help soldiers lose weight to train soldiers how to be better soldiers. Even some of the books that we read are all on the computers and iPads that we use now. So I'm going to say start early. Start learning some of the concepts like coding, like building and robotics. And concepts like math and various types of science like physics is very important as well, because the world is definitely becoming more computerized every day. And the question you got to ask yourself, where are you going to be when that time comes? Are you going to be a user, or are you going to be a producer? Thank you.
Thank you, Major Pitt. I will turn it over to Namisha. Thanks.
Thank you so much, and good evening, everyone. I'm really honored to be invited to today's webinar, and so glad to see that there are so many folks that are interested in spending their evening here today thinking about the importance of computer science and what what that means for you, and what that means for your community. When I start my presentation here in just a minute, what I'd like to do is really start by building on what my colleagues, Dr. Carr and Major Pitts, have already shared, and flesh out a little bit more some of the really important points that they both made about computer science, what it is and why it is so important, and more importantly, why is it so important for you and your communities. Additionally, I'll also be sharing some resources that you can use to learn computer science, and I'll be presenting a couple different resources that are available to you really regardless of what your prior knowledge might be of computer science. I know there's probably a number of different folks on tonight's webinar listening. Some of you, you may be young, you may be old, you may have done some computer science and coding before. This might be the first time you're thinking about it. You might be a high school student, you might be a parent. Really, regardless of who's listening in, I'm hoping you'll leave today with a couple different resources and also some thoughts on how you can be supporting computer science education in your communities. So with that, if we could get my slides up, that would be great, and then we can kick this thing off.
Are the slides available? Do you see the slides available?
Brother Ridley, you got the slides up?
I am not seeing slides yet.
Here we go.
There we go. Perfect. Excellent. So we can actually move to the next slide. That was just my little intro. So we can be on slide 2. And we can talk a little bit about computer science and really why is it so important for all students. As both Dr. Carr and Major Pitts, alluded to and talked about, the computers and software are really changing everything about our world today. And it's through computer science that we're able to provide opportunities for all students and for all communities. And it's an opportunity really to be innovative. A lot of folks, maybe yourself included, prior to this evening or maybe in the recent past, a lot of people view computer science as being about programming or just about coding. And people have a misconception that this is what is at the heart of computer science. But in reality, it's imagination, it's creation, it's innovation. These are the things that are at the heart of computer science. So just pause for a minute and think about all of the innovations that drive the things that we do in our everyday world. I'm sure you all have phones near you. Maybe you came on, public transportation. You're, listening to this webinar through, an online platform. You use social media. These are all innovations that drive our business, our healthcare, our agriculture, our entertainment. The list really is endless. And it's computer science that really allows our dreamers, our idealists, our entrepreneurs to really bring those dreams into reality. If they know how to write the software and use those computer science skills and concepts that really drive our modern world. That is why it is so important for us to be talking tonight about computer science education, and this is the reason why you are seeing in today's world initiatives like the White House's Computer Science for All. Next slide, if you would, please. So the reality of this, and you might need to click a couple of things so we can see the 2 graphs there below. Fabulous. So the reality is this: given the importance of computer science in our society today, the reality is of our education system is that it isn't being widely taught in our schools. Many of you can reflect back on maybe when you were in middle school or elementary school and think about, were you talking about computer science? Was it being taught? A recently released Gallup poll survey that was given to parents and school administrators that you're seeing some of the results for here on your screens here show the gap between what parents want and what's really happening in our schools. 9 out of 10 parents surveyed said that they want their child to learn computer science. But the school principals and the superintendents are telling us, that only 1 in 4 of their schools are actually offering computer science classes. So it's clear that this is something that parents and students want, that business and industry need in their employees, but there's still so much work to be done to help, our education system catch up with this. And a lot of this is what's at the heart of the Computer Science for All initiative, and it's brought together so many fabulous partners that are really looking at this challenge and how can we ensure that computer science education is reaching all of our countries. And so Code.org is working on this in a variety of different ways, both through providing opportunities for individuals to learn computer science and engage with their communities. And those are some of the resources I'm going to share with you today. But I also wanted to just pause here to say also that in addition to that, we are also working to establish partnerships around the country to systematically integrate computer science education into all of our nation's schools. And when you look at the White House's page on Computer Science for All, and this is a lot of what Dr. Carr was alluding to and sharing in his remarks, you will just see so many individuals and organizations from different sectors that are coming together to think about this need for computer science education. So it's not just Code.org. We have had the good fortune of now today being in a place where there are so many wonderful partners that are coming together around this need that you're seeing illustrated here in these numbers. The next slide. And again, just to reiterate some of the things you've already heard, computer science is more than just coding. One way to think about this, and I love this analogy, is that you can think about coding as an important tool for computer science, in a way that arithmetic is a tool for doing math, or words are a tool for learning English. So coding creates the software, but computer science itself is really a broad field that encompasses many deep concepts that go well beyond coding. And as you already heard, the reality is that computer science is about logic. It's about problem solving. It's about creativity. It's about being able to think differently about the problems that you're trying to solve. And it's about being able to create new technologies instead of just being consumers. I think Major Pitts concluded, by saying that, are you going to be a user or are you going to be a producer? And when you really have an understanding of computer science, you are well on your way to becoming that producer of technology, the producer of innovative solutions. And this is what employees are looking for. They're looking for individuals that understand not only how to use technology, but how to create and manipulate it. So if you could go to the next slide, please, there. And this, again, just reiterates that there are thousands of current openings, and they are in every industry. And these jobs are projected to grow. And again, I cannot say enough that they are in many, many industries that often you may not even have thought about or even be thinking about. You might, banking or agriculture. All of these industries are looking for innovators and problem solvers that have an understanding of computer science. And one thing, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about what is actually happening in your state, what does it look like? What does the economy and the job opportunities look like in your state? If you go to code.org, we have a page. This is code.org/promote, the word promote, and we have fact sheets for every different state where we've pulled together this data where you can take a look at a snapshot of what is actually happening in your state. And if you're someone, that wants to actually even think about how to encourage more folks around you to learn computer science, whether you're a student encouraging your peers, whether you're a parent or an adult or another advocate, this is a great resource to give you some of the numbers about what is actually happening in your community around computer science. The next slide, please. So now let's talk a little bit more about what Code.org is doing about all of this. So we launched in 2013 and essentially dedicated ourselves to expanding access to computer science. And specifically, we are looking at increasing participation by women and underrepresented students of color. And our vision is that every student in every school should have the opportunity to learn computer science. And that is really what drives all of our work, all of our programs, all of the materials that you'll find on our website. You'll see that you can get to virtually 100% of all of our resources for free with very little barriers because of this vision that every student in every school should have that access. The next slide. A little bit more about code.org is that we work in 3 different areas. Education, where we're working with K-12 school systems, and then also in the area of celebration, where we focus on building tools and resources and learning opportunities to really combat many stereotypes about computer science that often prevent many students from studying computer science. So a lot of the tools and resources that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight are built with that piece of equity in mind, are built with the idea that let's use this as an opportunity to celebrate the many kinds of faces and individuals that do computer science. We also do a lot of work in the area of advocacy, which is essentially we've got a small but dynamic team that's working on removing legislative barriers to broaden computer science education and access to that education. And of course, working closely with the White House and all of those partners that I mentioned that are part of the Computer Science for All movement are all part of that advocacy effort. If you go to the next slide, you'll actually see a data point that Dr. Carr actually already mentioned. And that is, I wanted to share this as an example of one of the ways in which advocacy is helping to remove these legislative barriers, where Code.org and many, many other stakeholders have been very active in getting more states to require computer science as a graduation requirement. So that's just one aspect. You're kind of sitting there wondering, what does that mean to be an advocate in this area? It is to look at building those kinds of policies that enable more students to access computers. And you might be wondering, what does this have to do with me? And I think it's so important to be aware of these kinds of challenges as well, because all of your voices matter. Whether you're able to talk to a teacher, whether you're able to talk to a principal, maybe you have an opportunity to talk with a local, politician or leader. All of those voices matter because that is how we start to move the needle. If you go to the next slide, I want to now actually start talking about a few resources that are available to you all. And these are some resources available to you as individual learners. So the first set of resources are those associated with the Hour of Code, which I imagine some of you are probably familiar with. But I'll give a little bit of background in case you haven't heard too much about it. But the Hour of Code is a global movement that reaches tens of millions of students in nearly 200 countries. And really, anyone, anywhere can organize an Hour of Code event. Our tutorials are provided in over 40 different languages. And for most of the tutorials, you don't need any kind of experience whatsoever. We say that the age range is 4 to 104. And we really do mean it. Regardless of any prior knowledge you might have of computer science, there are things that you can learn and be successful at through our Hour of Code tutorials. So typically, the Hour of Code is actually done during computer science education week in December. In case you're wondering, this year will be from December 5th to the 11th. But the truth is that nothing from the website goes down. So you can host an Hour of Code event any time of the year. You can access those tutorials at any time of the year. So again, whether you're a student and you want to learn about computer science, the tutorials are a great place to start. Maybe you're interested in encouraging others around you to learn more computer science. So we have resources available to help you put an Hour of Code event together. Again, you don't have to wait till December to do any of it. Turn around and put something together for next week. So what I've done on this site, on this slide here, and I believe all the slides have been shared with any attendees that are here tonight, there's two different links. The first link will take you to some resources to be an event organizer.
Namisha,
Yeah.
Namisha, this is Tony Harrison. I just want to pause you for 1 second. Have a couple people saying that their voice is fading just a little bit. Can everybody
Okay.
hear me okay?
Yeah, is that a little bit better?
Oh, wait. Okay, the answer was yes.
Okay, all right, excellent. Please interrupt me again if something does happen. So like I was saying, there are these two different links. The first one is if you're interested in hosting an hour of code type event for your community. And the second link is for learners of all ages. And so you can go to this link and you can learn about the different tutorials. I've got some screenshots here: Minecraft, Star Wars, Frozen. Those were some really popular themed tutorials that we had. And in addition, you can also access additional tutorials developed by our partners to teach everything from JavaScript, other programming languages, and also for phones and tablets. So really a wide variety of resources. You could keep yourself busy for a really long time just exploring all of the different tutorials through the hour of code. So that's one exciting resource to share with all of you tonight. If you go to the next slide, I've got a couple more. Another great resource is our CS Principles video library. So this is a great resource to further develop your learning. And these videos are part of our high school advanced placement course. But the videos are, like most of our resources, accessible to anyone who visits our website. And they are a great way to learn about a variety of topics. Things like, what does HTML mean? What is digital compression? There's a lot of really great videos that you can just watch. Most of them are 5 to 7 minutes long, and they just walk you through and will help you build your understanding of different concepts in computer science. They're not all about coding necessarily, but so it's a good way to give you an idea of other concepts around computer science. The next resource I'm really excited about. This is a new tool that was developed by code.org. It's a new programming environment that we built where you can actually make simple apps. You can design an app, you can code it with blocks, or you can use JavaScript. And then the coolest thing about it is that you can then share that app within seconds. You can send it to the phones of all of your friends, and they can play and utilize your app right away as soon as it's been built. So there's some great resources on that link that I've shared. There's some demos, there's some overviews, some step-by-step guides that you can use to start building your apps right away. Super exciting tool. That's definitely one I would recommend if you've done a little bit of coding, maybe explored some of our resources. But even if you haven't, you can still give it a shot because computer science is all about problem solving, and I bet you could probably figure it out even if you've never done anything like this before. So next slide, if you would, please. And if all of that isn't enough, if you go through the many, many hour of code tutorials, if you watch all of the videos on our website, if you build all the apps that you can think of through our App Lab programming environment, we also have some additional resources at code.org/learn/beyond. There are so many resources on this page that I just had to list the topics and not the actual tutorials. So you'll see that there are tutorials on building apps for phones and tablets. There are links to online university courses that you can go to. There are resources where you can learn how to make web pages. It's really it's endless, the resources that we're connected to. And that gives you an idea of the collaboration also that code.org is really working to promote, where you're not going to get everything you want to learn through code.org. But if you can come and encourage others to come to code.org, learn a little bit, get excited, feel some success, and then keep learning more. That is really the most important thing. If you start, spend 10 minutes, spend 60 minutes, but then keep learning. And so we want to encourage that. So we will continue to share lots of resources from our other partners as well, always on our website. So if you'll go to the next slide, almost towards the last slide here, I want to talk a little bit about other things that you can also do to continue to be a part of this movement towards encouraging all students in all communities to have access to computer science. So as you explore computer science on your own, as you build on your own learning, I think what I've seen over and over again is that, you know, students and adults alike, once you start learning it, you want others to do that. You start to realize just how important this is for your own life, for your own careers, for your own future, and you start to see how important it is for everybody in your community around you. So one of the things that code.org does is we provide teacher professional learning programs. This is where we are working to encourage teachers in schools around the country to also feel that excitement about computer science and develop their skills so that they can bring courses to all the students in their schools. We have a flagship course in elementary, in middle school, and in high school. And what I wanted to share with all of you tonight is that there are some, I think, amazing opportunities for you all to be an advocate in this space. So as you build your computer science learning for yourself, you can talk to teachers and principals and schools and be an advocate for supporting teachers that want to teach computer science in their schools. So again, at code.org, I've put the link in there, and you can download examples of letters and talking points and things that you can share with teachers and principals and schools in your community to encourage them to think about providing computer science coursework to students around you. And we're always collecting interest from school districts and teachers as new opportunities arise. So, you know, any time of year, any day is a good day to talk to somebody about the importance of computer science education. And as you explore the Hour of Code tutorials, as you're building apps on App Lab, you will, I think, come to find more and more the importance of not only furthering your own learning, but encouraging others to do so as well. And so with that, you can move it to the last slide that just has my email. I want to thank you all so much for your time this evening, for spending your evening with us. And my hope is that I leave you empowered and educated to not only continue your own computer science learning, but also with the importance of advocating for more computer science education in your community. So if there are additional ways that you think code.org can help support you in your work, my email address is there. Please don't hesitate to contact me or any of tonight's webinar organizers or speakers. We're all here as resources to help you continue your learning. And so thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Miss Roy, thank you for your presentation. My personal favorite is the Minecraft one.
That one is, I've heard that quite a bit, that the Minecraft one is pretty popular.
Okay, Demisha, we've got a couple questions here for you. The first is from Brandon Scott, and he has a question about Scratch. The question was, is Scratch like code.org? Can you talk a little bit about Scratch?
Sure, yeah. So Scratch is another really great resource, and you'll find that a number of our tutorials are, they use Scratch. We definitely point people to Scratch as a great resource to use, again, for your own learning and for working with students as well. Um, the platforms that our code.org tutorials use are not Scratch, so it is a little bit different. But it's definitely something that I encourage folks to try out. Often what we see is that someone who has not done computer science before, they will go through some of our Hour of Code tutorials, or they'll go through our elementary course and they love it. But we only have so many hours of material to keep you engaged. And Scratch is actually very commonly the next resource or tool, platform, if you will, that people go to once they've gotten really excited and engaged by some of our code.org resources.
Thank you for that answer. We have another question. This comes from Jason Richardson of the Phoenix Alumni Chapter. How to identify STEM-focused internships and camps for students?
What was that? Can you say that last part again? Something about state internships?
He's looking for STEM-focused internships / camps for students.
Yeah, so I don't know if the question is about trying to identify state internships. We actually, code.org, we don't, we work with some interns. We actually, one of the things that we do is for folks that are interested in kind of volunteering and being a computer science expert in the classroom, there are ways to like sign up for doing that, which I can definitely share. We haven't done a lot of work in terms of advocating for and like supporting internships, but if there's something specific in the state of Arizona, we have a regional manager that works in that place, and so if you have some ideas or some thoughts about what we might be able to do in your area, please just shoot me an email, and I'd love to connect you with my colleague that works in Arizona, and we can see if there's something that we can work on there.
Okay, and I'll chime in just for a second for Brother Richardson. There are actually several camps. This is camp season, so there's several camps that are out there now. Some have already filled up past their application deadline, but there are 3 particular cybersecurity camps that we're advertising right now out on Facebook and Kappa STEM and your Guide Right Directors Facebook page. There's and these are sponsored by NSA. There's one at Norfolk State University right now. There's obviously to service the Norfolk area, Tidewater area. There's one at Oakland University, which is Detroit, Flint area. There's also one at Brookdale Community College in Lindcrest, New Jersey. The great thing about these camps are 2 weeks long. They're free. There's a stipend for food. But we need to get that well, if you're in that area, particular area, we need to get those applications done like today because they're going to be closing very soon. So we just get in contact with me, and I will definitely get you in contact with many of the scholarship and internships that we're getting information on. Question from Fancy Bryant. Can we get presentation later to review? This entire presentation is being recorded. Also, the slides from code.org are loaded in the webinar software, so you'll get a chance to get that also. And I also will make if you look into the chat area, the first link I have is to the Facebook event for this particular conference call, and there will be a link to this presentation there also. Next question comes from Ainsworth Spence. What other ways can software development help engage community service involvement?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's actually a little bit of what I was starting to say in response to the earlier question. There is a spot on the code.org website, actually, where we collect names and contact information from individuals in the software tech industry that are interested in supporting computer science education in schools. Especially as we get closer to December, what happens is a lot of schools start hosting Hour of Code events, and they are very interested in inviting other folks from the community to come and talk and support, often leading Hour of Code tutorials and workshops. And so let me actually, while we're talking, let me see if I can pull up the direct link to where you can sign up to be that kind of a volunteer. Let's see how fast I can pull that up while we're talking.
Okay, thank you. We still have a couple questions here, so we'll get to those in just a second. Let me know when you're ready to begin. I will answer one question from Marlon Sanders from Chicago. We will be working with you and your Chicago Alumni chapter on a couple initiatives very shortly. New Jersey, Brookdale Community College is the location. Carlos Ragland, I'll give you my email address so you can connect with me. There's also a question from Jeff Brown. Are there any camps available in California? Believe it or not, about 2 hours before this webinar started, I received a call from a gentleman, one of our Kappa brothers from California, who has a camp. I think his spots are not available anymore, but I will get you in contact with him. I don't know what part. He's in Los Angeles. I'm not sure what part of California you're from, but we will definitely look into some opportunities in California. Oakland, California. Okay.
And the website or the link, it's just code.org/volunteer. So simple and easy, Anna, to remember.
Okay. I'm a 20-year IT professional who had to learn coding ad hoc and wonder how I can get into teaching at both K-12 and vocational college level. This is from Carlos Ragland.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the slides there towards the end that I was talking about was code.org. In addition to building all of our Hour of Code tutorials, we also provide teacher professional development. So CS Fundamentals is our K-5 curriculum. CS Discoveries is a new middle school course that we're developing. And AP Computer Science is our high school level advanced placement computer science course that is actually newly launched this year. And so for all of these programs, what we do is we are working with local professional learning partners to provide professional learning for teachers. And what's really great about this is that our professional learning programs are accessible whether you have a really strong industry background in computer science and maybe you are not a teacher yet or are just beginning your teaching career, but also the other way. Maybe you're a veteran teacher and you've never taught computer science before, and you're looking to bring computer science education to your school. So we get all kinds of folks in our professional learning programs. So if that's something that you're interested in, again, depending on the region, it depends on the different opportunities that we have available to you. But we're also always working on expanding to new regions. So please email me, and I'm happy to connect you to specifics about what's happening in your area.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Daryl Buchanan. The National Science Olympiad has a video game development as a competition area this year. They're using Scratch. Is code.org looking to partner with them?
Not directly that I'm aware of. So again, like I said, most of our work is either providing professional learning directly to educators, which is usually partnering and working with school districts and folks that provide professional learning, Or we have the category of resources that I shared with you all about, hour of code and individual opportunities to learn. So we don't have a lot of formal partnerships with, National Olympiad type organizations or First Robotics or things like that. But we do know, of course, that a lot of our resources very much dovetail with a lot of work that folks are trying to do, the kinds of skills they're working on teaching students. So, anybody on our code.org staff is always, happy to share resources and connect folks that want to use our materials to work that they're doing. So, if you would like, if you know of somebody that is looking for computer science resources, looking for modules and lessons and tutorials and things like that, again, be happy to, connect with them, and I can, help them find resources that might be relevant to the work they're trying to do.
Thank you. Okay, there's another question from Masai Maple, and the question reads, how does one know what it takes to enter the world of computer science? I think they're asking maybe what is the best way to kind of start off if they're interested in computer science.
Yeah, and that is such a great question, because really what it takes is your interest and your passion and your commitment to learning computer science skills. So really anybody can, and I think if that's one message that you all can leave with today is that as long as you have that willingness to learn, that you are open to problem solving and being an innovative and creative thinker, you can enter the world of computer science, because you will teach yourself things. You will go through these tutorials, you will learn the concepts, you will learn the skill sets and the tools, and you can enter computer science. And the amazing thing about where we are in today's society is that, like all of us, all the speakers today, said computer science is really in any field. So you may even have interests and passions in other industries, in other parts, and that is what you need. That's all you need. You need that passion, that interest, and that commitment to learning those skill sets. And I don't know if Dr. Carr and Major Pitzer are still on the line. I'm sure they could also attest to that or share additional responses.
Okay, Namisha, I have one more question for you. Then we'll bring Dr. Carr and Major Pitts on if they have some final comments. But there was a question from Daryl Buchanan about does the AP course align with the AP CS test?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm so glad you asked that, because I realized I did not specify that. So some of you may be familiar with the current AP test, or the current AP Computer Science course that's available in our high schools or in many schools around the country. And that is AP Computer Science A or AP Computer Science B. There's some variations. This is a brand new AP course. So this curriculum is not related to the current AP Computer Science exam that exists, that many of you have probably seen in some of your local schools. So this is a new AP course. It's Computer Science Principles is the full name, and it is much more broad-based in terms of the concepts you learn for computer science. And it is really designed with equity in mind. The current AP Computer Science course, you pretty much go straight into programming and learning about programming and coding and those aspects of computer science. This course that I shared with you all, AP Computer Science Principles, is much more of an introductory course. You do a lot of programming, but you also learn about things like how does the internet work, and digital media, and really a wide variety of foundational computer science topics. And it's got its own brand new computer science AP test.
Thank you very much, Namisha. We really appreciate that. Major Pitts, you have any final comments?
Don't really have too many final comments. Just kind of reiterate what I was saying earlier. In the Army as well as the rest of the Department of Defense, cyber security and computer science professionals will always be needed, and the need is increasing. So definitely plant the seeds now. And as Lamisha said, definitely your creativity and your spark starts now, and can grow to do great things. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Carr, are you still with us?
I'm still here.
Any final comments, words of encouragement for not only, I think we have not only just some of our students, but we have some adults that are here that are anxious for information. So any comments you have for everybody?
I mean, I think I just want to share just for 2 minutes my story, right? I first learned to code when I was in the 3rd grade. I had a single mother. I had a library that was on the way home from school. And my mama didn't get off work until 7 o'clock. And so by the time I got out of school and needed to get home, I had spent 3 or 4 hours in the library. And I had a librarian there who decided to invest in me. I grew up in the projects of Detroit, a tough area. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have cable. I didn't have my own computer. But my librarian found it important to put me on Windows 95, which y'all probably have never heard of, but put me on this computer. And that's where I taught myself how to code in what was Fortran, which y'all will probably never hear of. So by the time I got to high school, I had taught myself a lot of coding. And it had prepared me and gave me some different kind of insights on what I wanted to be. And that's really what changed the direction of my life. Because by the time I got to college, by the time I got to high school, I had these skills that no one else had, which made me a lot more marketable to schools and companies for internships. And it definitely put me on a trajectory that allowed me to be where I am today, right? And so I'm 28 years old, have a PhD in computer and electrical engineering, worked for the White House for 2 years. And it's really because my mother and my librarian thought it important for me to get this opportunity to learn computer science. And I think that for the students on this call and for the parents on this call, that's an important story to hear, because what it shows you is how this simple addition to your academic career, to your academic future, can change your life, right? Not saying that I wouldn't be where I am if I didn't learn computer science, if I didn't become an engineer, but it definitely allowed me to be more marketable, and allowed me to have the academic experiences that allowed me to be a young 28-year-old African-American gentleman who I think is succeeding pretty well for a young man. Just want to share that story and just encourage all the young people on this call just to think about what Dr. Carr did and what Dr. Carr's mama and teachers did to prepare him for where I am today.
We certainly appreciate that story, Dr. Carr. There is a question. Are you able to provide some of your contact information? I can type it into the chat screen here.
Yeah, you can put my my email in there.
Okay.
The Gmail.
mcar. Okay. I've got you.
Marvin@gmail.
All right. Here we go. Hang on. While I'm typing that, Brother Viney, I see that you're on the line. This is our National Guide Right Commission Chairman. You have a few comments for us?
Oh, I just wanted to say to everyone from Namisha, Brother Marvin Carr, Brother Marlon, Tony, and everybody that's been participating, once again, a phenomenal and amazing job. The instruction, the clarity of direction, the questions from the audience, absolutely phenomenal. We know where this country is heading. We know where the world is heading in this 21st century. and it is important for us to continuously stay on top of these things. So just the amount of information that has been shared tonight is just incredibly golden, and I know it's going to impact some of the individuals, some of the youth, and some of the parents that is on here. So on behalf of the National Guide-Right Committee of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and also on behalf of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, as well as the Kappa Alpha Psi Foundation and the Kellogg Foundation, who's been a generous sponsor for our Diamonds in the Rough initiative and for supporting the STEM initiative. We'd like to say thank you to each and every one of you. And the great thing is, this is not the only webinar. Brother Harrison, our National Guide-Right STEM chairman, along with his co-chairman, Brother Marlon, I know they have some amazing things coming up, and I'm excited about that. I'm also excited about to see what next year holds, but definitely excited about what the near future and the next webinars on STEM will hold. So, Brother Harrison, once again, a phenomenal job in helping us take Guide-Right and impacting our young kids and our young students again, in their lives. And to Namisha and Brother Carr, Brother Marlon, thank you again for such leadership. Thank you again for providing your time to help the youth. So thank you.
Thank you, Brother Viney, for those comments and your leadership for all these years in Guide-Right. We won't get into that right now. But again, I'd like to echo the thanks for Dr. Marvin Carr, Major Darian Pitts of the Woodbridge Alumni Chapter, Dr. Marvin Carr, brother of the Baltimore Alumni Chapter, Namisha Ghost Roy, Brother Marlon Ridley's been working the slides for us in the background, and Jayleon. This whole thing is about Guide-Right and giving our young students an opportunity and training to showcase their talents and abilities, and that's what this is really all about. So we definitely appreciate Jayleon Ridley, who's a junior Kappa leaguer in the Alexandria-Fairfax Alumni Chapter. Brother Ben Jackson, who is one of the chairs of the Kappa Alpha Psi Technology Education Committee. I'm not sure if he was on tonight, but he would definitely want me to let you know to stay tuned for the College Survival 101, how to be prepared for your first semester of college. It's a boot camp that will happen from June 20th to 24th. So that is actually going to start next week. So we definitely want you to look out for that. We'll get information out. We will hear from some of our undergraduates as they impart their knowledge to our current high school Guide-Right students who will be starting school in the fall. So again, thank you for everybody who made it on the call tonight. Thank you for all our presenters. And again, this is recorded, so you'll get a chance to share it with your friends and family. And I want to thank you for joining us tonight on behalf of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity.